So, just recently, Battlespirits Saga released a Twitter post that said a lot of buzz has been circulating about blue when it comes to these few cards. Do you think this puts blue at the top? Or do you feel that other decks have the tools to keep blue in check? Well, I saw this post and I saw some of my fellow players commented under the post as well that I know personally. And honestly, I have my own opinions about it. They're both good and bad, in between, out, you know. So I have my views, you have yours. But here's my take. See what you think. In this episode of, I guess, a personal court talk. So, this guy right here, Deep Sea Emperor Hydra, I'm not gonna lie, he is a menace. And he's very, very tough to take down. And very tough to deal with. But here's my take. So, just jumping right off the gun, these are the three cards that they are referring to. We're looking at Deep Sea Emperor Hydra, which is also an aberration, which works with the Nexus that I'll get to in a second. At levels 1, 2, and 3, when the spirit attacks, your opponent selects one of their spirits and discards the top number of cards from their deck equal to that unit's play cost. Then you destroy that spirit. At level 2 and 3, it gains raid. Raid 2. But check this out. With the 10 DP body at level 2 for only 3 cores, you gotta admit that is pretty tough, right? And then moving on from there, you have Great Sapphire Labyrinth, which is the Nexus that goes along with the aberrations. During your main step, when one of your aberration spirits with that play cost 3 or fewer gets played, you gain a core from the void and place it on that Nexus, which is fairly easy. Don't you agree? Like, there's a lot of different aberrations at level 3, play cost 3, 4s, and 5s. You know, they have a decent amount that they can circulate this Nexus pretty often every turn, right? And then during your main step, when you would summon a spirit with Ascend from your hand, just by exhausting this Nexus, you don't have to pay the cost. I think that's pretty strong. Pretty good card. And then lastly, the one that everyone's, talking about and being very fearful of, and honestly, I have to give it to him. This card is pretty strong. I'm going to botch the name, so definitely excuse me. I'll put it on the screen just to be sure that you guys, know what I'm talking about. I guess his name is Goya, however you pronounce it. Everyone calls him the Frog, right? So at levels 1, 2, and 3, during your attack step, when one of your spirits with Ascend attacks, you discard the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. Hydra has raid 2. If all the attacks go through, whether you have the ability to block them or you take no damage or however, if it is able to attack 3 times, that's 15 cards from the top of your deck. And this guy can just sit at level 1. But hear me out. For comfortable 3 cores, and you gain those cores from the Labyrinth, this guy is sitting at 6 DP. So he's escaping the Tiger. He's escaping some of the red abilities since, they have threshold destruction numbers. That is pretty tough. And then himself has Crush +1. So at level 2, he's milling you for 2 +1. If that player decides they want to do an extra mill just to make sure that they're hitting certain numbers per turn, right? So now that those cards are there, let's go back to the question of the day, right? Do you think that this puts blue at the top? Yes. Yes, it does. From the previous set, it was kind of lackluster, and honestly, every other color utilized blue kind of a little bit better, like White Mandela, And majority of the time, blue just couldn't keep up, whether it was their low destruction, I'm going to say utilities, or their mill it was efficient, but not efficient enough to matter against some of the decks that were out there. But right now, this guy, he's extremely potent, even just by himself, right? So I'm going to have to say, and this is my personal take, I think in a way, for a deck to be at the top and have all these amenities, I think it's okay. And here's my reasoning why. When there's a deck that sits at the top, we have something to aim for. That becomes the most popular deck or the meta deck, something that everyone's going to end up migrating towards. Having something that sits up there, well, hopefully it's not, something that negates anything like, like Yu-Gi-Oh, but we're not going to get into that one. Having something up there that destroys and mills at the same time, it seems tough, but there are colors and strategies that we can use to fight against it. Will it help us, in a sense, counter the deck? Somewhat. Will it help us stop the deck so it's not as prominent? Maybe not. But there are some ways that we can either slow this thing down or beat it before it gets to, I guess, detrimental. For an example, let's look at white. If some of us is not too biased on what we put inside our build, the Tiger, which has, blue armor, and some of the Valkyries within the side of the deck have blue armor as well. And what that does, it forces the blue player to start playing cards such as Cthulhu Shark. When you Cthulhu Shark, you still have that one-on-one because our Soul Core is going to be on the Tiger. And knowing Tiger's high BP is 14, even with 4 cores, versus a 10 with 3, and you end up having the Frozen Waterfall, I think we kind of win that trade, especially since white loves to do combat. Then when you look at something like Hydra, that's kind of like a board destruction, and based on what you put within the build, like that one spell card that gives you a creature confront, you're going to win that fight about 9 times out of 10, unless your opponent has something to, dream bomb or knock your creature out of the way. But there are some ways to fight back against the card. Now, I have my own personal mindset when it comes to us building competitive decks to fight against certain things. We have to give and take, right? We have to give up something within our build to fight efficiently, right? Of course, way back we had things such as Netherworld Depths and Axe Spider. Now, I had my opinions then, and I have my opinions now on it. Netherworld Depths could be handled. There's just not a lot of us want to put cards in there to destroy it. Now, granted, if you couldn't get the card sticks, right? But if it was limited, then it would be like a one-of, but still you can kind of just deal with it by putting X amount of cards in there. Axe Spider was a whole different ball game within itself. That is a menace, right? I'm glad he's gone and not coming back anytime soon. But when it comes to Hydra, there are ways of dealing with the guy. You can Dream Bomb him, even though it is temporary. Then it is temporary. But by planning things out, a temporary removal is a, temporary destruction of your life. That gives you another turn to either set up to kill the guy or to defend yourself again. Now, granted, defending yourself against Hydra is very, very tough. Even Dream Bomb is like it's like a waiting game, because if you don't have anything, you just Dream Bomb them just to survive a turn. If you don't draw anything that's good, kind of SOL, right? You can also beat the guy in battle. If you have 2 to 3 creatures, we'll just say 2 just for the sake of the example, but make sure they're 5 play costs or higher. You kill one of your creatures and then let your other creatures, such as Tiger, deal combat. And at that point, we go back to the best old fashion of Battlespirits, where it is BP versus BP at that point. Once you kill that Hydra, unless they have a deck built that way, they're not getting that back. But nonetheless, the Frog, it is a little over the top. Now, let's look at Hydra killing something that's 6, 7 play costs. Doesn't hurt as much as it used to way back in the original Battlespirits, when your deck was like limited of 3 cards and 40 card deck-ish. That hurt way back in the day. Now we have a little bit more of a leeway. But it doesn't stop this guy from hurting, especially since he's a double breaker. So dealing with them is going to be rough. Are there ways of dealing with them? Yes. Yes, there are. Are there ways of dealing with him, the Nexus, and the Frog all at the same time? Yes, but you're on a timer. I'm not gonna sit here and try to put this guy on my good side. I don't like the guy, and I'm not gonna try to sit here and defend that 3-card combo is extremely tough, extremely potent, and honestly, probably extremely hard to beat. Is it possible? We have the tools to do so. Will it be easy? I'm not going to say it is. To some of us, it may be based on how we built our decks. During this entire past year that we've been playing Battlespirits Sagas, we've seen so many meta decks just come out of nowhere. And what did we see shortly afterwards? We saw change. We saw adaptability. We saw decks that honestly shocked people. And then guess what happened after that? That deck that shocked people and did very good became the meta as well. And that ended up shaping and forcing other decks to sit to the side. Will Hydra meet that same end? Will Hydra meet that same counter? Honestly, I'd like to find out. It'll be great. The best thing about trading card games, especially on the competitive scene, is when one person, maybe two, maybe 100, get tired of seeing this guy and they do something about it. And that ends up shaping the meta. That ends up showing ingenuity, originality. So here goes to whoever cracks the counter code to the Hydra. And if you do, share it in the comments below. Share it to your friends. It's about learning. When there's a threat that comes along in anything, video games, like Apex. I love Apex Legends. I play it competitively all the time. You know, I get like the Masters almost every season with my friend Franklin. Battlespirits, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Shadow Race Evolved. When there is a problem or a threat, even in real life, there's a problem or a threat, and we don't want to deal with it anymore. We need that threat to move. We assess the situation, we adapt, and we take care of it. So that's what I'm hoping that our community does. Let's not let this deter the community from not being involved, from not playing. There's cards just like this in other card games that are just busted and crazy, but the community keeps pushing forward. That should be us. The Battlespirits Saga community is a great community, very strong. I've never met so many competitive, very strong players in a very long time. And I'm proud to be with you guys. You guys taught me so many different things. Okay? So, that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below or on any social media post that I'm going to be posting this video on, right? And Josh, Jax, and Buyer, I want you guys to do a response video to this. You know, I want to see what you guys' thoughts on it as well. You know, we talk and play around and, you know, all that good stuff about Battlespirits Saga. So I want to hear your thoughts as well, or any other content creator. You know, tag Battlecore in it, tag me in it. You know, let's spread, you know, the information and our thoughts. So this might help other players, you know, figure something out, right? So I am Mustang of Battlecore and the Core Knights, and I will see you on the next one. And if there's anything else, any other topic that you think you want me to talk about, the meta, Tiger, I love playing white. I've been playing white for years, even in the original Battlespirits. If you want to know my thoughts, my strategies, or anything else, let me know. You know, shoot me a message, put it in the comments below, and I'd love to do it. All right. With that being said, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.